And who is doing our Zoom tonight? Okay, from the office, I hope. Keeps dropping out otherwise. We'll give her 30 seconds before we begin then. Otherwise, everyone misses my brilliant opening comments. Ignore that. That's like an old notation of mine for an old outline. Just sometimes I'll go through and number them. Jessica, we good? I couldn't tell if that was a 1 minute or we're good. For those of you out in Facebook land, we're going to begin in about 1 minute. Adam, do you know if we're on Zoom, or can you not see that? I'm starting to think I should put the computer up here and just do Zoom myself. Mary, your head is probably the whole video image right now. It's really funny. I would love to start, can I? Awesome. Shh. And we're going to begin if that's okay with everybody. All right. Shabbat Shalom. It is great to have so many people in our audience live tonight and so many people watching us on Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and our website. Wherever you are part of Kol Tikva. You are part of our community. So February is Jewish Disability Awareness and Inclusion Month. And every year we try to pay honor to this by taking actions to educate our community. And it was just 2 years ago that we turned to a congregant, to Lisa Sage, and we asked her to become a board member and to make the ideas of inclusion for those with disabilities her portfolio. And over the last 2 years, she has managed to give us so many programs. She has managed to speak to so many groups. She's helped us understand how to be more inclusive. And later tonight in the service, she'll be sharing some of her thoughts on this topic with us. In the Jewish Community Guide to Inclusion for People with Disabilities, Shelley Christensen writes, "We do not do things for people with disabilities. We do things with people with disabilities." So as we pray tonight, let us remember that each one of us is unique, that each one of us has strengths, has weaknesses, that each one of us has challenges. Our goal as a religious community is to include everyone. And so now, to begin our service, to make us a community wherever we are, we're going to turn to page 130, either in a physical prayer book or a digital prayer book, which you can hopefully have at home. And we're going to turn to page 130 for Lechu Neranana. Cantor Noah?
לכו נרננה לאדוני נריע לצור אישנו. לכו נרננה לאדוני נריע לצור אישנו. לכו נרננה לאדוני נריע לצור אישנו. בקדמה פניו בתודה בזמירות נריע לו. לקדמה פניו בתודה בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה לאדוני נריע לצור אישנו. לכו נרננה לאדוני נריע לצור אישנו. אישנו נקדמה פניו ותודה בזמירות נריע לו נקדמה פניו ותודה בזמירות נריע לו
Yasher Koach. So Moses was talking to God, and Moses said, I am slow of speech and heavy of tongue. And God responded and said, who made a human being's mouth? Or who makes one mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Isn't it I, God? You see, God knew how to make an accommodation, because after saying that, God provided Aaron to speak for him. And we see in Exodus that after Moses comes down Mount Sinai the second time, his face is literally aglow, which is a part of the Torah I always love. But sadly, the Israelites are terrified by this glowing face. And so he has to take a veil and cover himself the rest of his life. And the only time he takes it off is when he wants the Israelites to listen, when he wants their attention, and when he speaks to God. But when he's not doing these things, he hides his difference. You see, God can make accommodations. God could see someone whose face was aglow, but the Israelites could not. The differences scared them. So we have to ask ourselves, are we like God in our action or like the Israelites? Are we able to make accommodations for others, or do we only show fear when people are different? And so I always go back to B'Tselem Elohim time and time again, because in Genesis we are taught about B'Tselem Elohim, how we are each created in God's image. Each one of us is unique, and each one of us is holy, just like God. And if we remember that, then we will remember to treat each other with respect, and then we will be a true kihila, a true community. And so we need to remember that the Sabbath bride comes not just for one, but for everyone. And the Sabbath bride comes, well, for each of us as a community and loves us equally. So we turn to page 138 to welcome that Sabbath bride. And we'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising on that last verse. Cantor.
לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת וליתי לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה.
you are able, please rise and face the back door.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated if you aren't already seated. We're on page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Our rabbis taught, I am God's creature and my fellow is God's creature. But my work is in the city and their work is in the field. I rise early for my work and they rise late for theirs. And just as they do not presume to do my work, so I do not presume to do theirs. Yes, we seem to be different. So you say I do much and they do little? We have a tradition. One may do much or one may do little. One may rise early and go to bed early, or one may rise late and go to bed late. It is the same, provided one directs one's heart to heaven. The rabbi is saying that we all have different patterns, different motives, different ways of working, different intensities. And as long as our hearts are directed towards goodness, towards holiness, towards taking the right actions, we're doing just fine. We're really all moving in the same direction. So yes, we can be different in many ways, but ultimately all that matters is that we direct our hearts towards all that is holy. And we do that through prayer, through praise, through song, through action, through joy, and through blessing. And so we need to realize that we are blessed every Friday night by those Shabbat angels who come into our lives. They bless each and every one of us, regardless of who we are. Our angels love us, all the same. So we turn to page 142 and we welcome those angels and we feel their blessings as we sing Shalom Aleichem. Cantor.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon. Oi, 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 mi melech, Malachi Amelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. אוי 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 אוי, מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. אוי 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 אוי, מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Carol and Herm, can you come forward to light our Shabbat candles tonight? And for those of you who are watching who have Shabbat candles in front of them, now is the time to pull out those matches and you can join in our candle lighting. Our Shabbat candles are a gateway through which Shabbat, the Sabbath bride, the angels, the goodness of Shabbat enters our lives. And so we light these candles so that gateway is bright, it is lit, it opens that door to that which is special to come into our lives. We light our candles.
La 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 la
Let's reach out towards our candles and pull once for the idea of inclusion. And then let's pull in a second time for the idea of rest. And finally, the last time, let's pull in for Keilah, for community.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר של השבת.
Thank you, Carol and Herb. Shabbat Shalom. Our tradition teaches us that a person who hears less may see more. One who sees less may perceive more. One who speaks slowly may have more to share. And a person who moves with difficulty may have a clearer sense of direction. So as we rise for the Baruch Hu, if we're able to rise, we face the ark. And we think about how each difference, is a blessing that teaches us about ourselves and about others. Let us rise. ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד המבורך לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm Rabbi Jade. I'm the rabbinic intern here at Kol Tikva, and it's really a beauty to be here for Shabbat. Today, I'm to a native activist on TikTok, of course. That's how I get my news. That's how I get my feel-goods. And he brought to my attention this quote, and he says that change makers really love this quote. And it's, diversity asks who is at the table. Equity responds who is not at the table, and what barriers do they face in order to get there. Inclusion asks, has everyone's ideas been heard once they are at the table? And justice responds, will their ideas be taken? Hello? There we go. And I would like to push it even a little bit further and have us ask, for who and who built the table? Meaning, are we making our places accessible? Are we making them a place of love? Are we making them a place of joy? And the only way to answer those questions is to listen. And through the Shema, as we sing together, we learn that listening is a divine and holy act. The Shema doesn't only unite us in faith, but it unites us in the commitment to listen to one another. So if everyone can please stand as we sing the Shema together. We are on page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malachuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
We continue with the Ve'ahavta found on page
154.
Perfect. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We are about to turn to page 158 for Mi Chamocha. And we've had a really happy occasion happen this past week where we welcomed in the new month of Adar. This year is a Jewish leap year, meaning we have 2 months of Adar. And Adar is a month of pure joy and happiness where we try to integrate happiness into every day. And I honestly can't think of a more happy way than singing and dancing to bring in that spirit to our lives and to the Shabbat. So we recall the singing and dancing that was done during the Exodus with Miriam and everyone around, with Mi Chamocha on page 158.
באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע היום לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. לי 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 לי
We now turn to Vishamru on page 162. And Vishamru talks about the commandments of Shabbat. In this week's Torah portion, we have many commandments regarding the building of the Mishkan. The Mishkan held the 10 commandments as the Israelites passed through the desert. And contrary to what it looks like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the covenant and the Mishkan was actually wood covered in gold rather than a whole thing of gold. Because if it was all gold, it would be extremely heavy. And so we learn from this that making something inclusive is also a commandment. We have a commandment to make sure that commandments are accessible to everyone. So even when building the Mishkan, everyone was included. Everyone was invited to participate. So with our commandments for Shabbat of Shamor and Zachor, I invite everyone to join with us right now on page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם.
We now turn our focus to those in our community, internally and externally, who need healing. This healing could be physical, mental, and a part of healing that I was thinking about this week is also grief. We have a lot of emotions in our bodies that sometimes feel a little bit too much. And so with Misha Berach, we think about the whole person. How do they experience life during the day? And how do they experience life internally when they're away from other people? The Misha Berach can be found on page 371. These are the lists of people that we are thinking of here this evening. Kol Tikva. Eric Anderson, Richard Barrett, Sigal Barzand, Bella Kane, Gil Cherish, Chuck Cronin, Chaim Deckel, Diane Fantel, Sharon Feist, Alex Fischel, Jackie Fizzle, the Haynes family, Chana Bat Herschel, Sarah Knopf, David Nodel, Bryn Pime, Joseph Rubin, Yossi Shashua, Lisa Sage, Paula Warner, Schlenker, Wayne Shaw, Gail Silva, Rove Silric, Julie Stein, Celia Niemroff, and of course those suffering from COVID and those caring for all who are ill. Please add your name as my hand reaches your eyes, and of course if you are joining us online, feel free to add names to our public list. Dana Martinez. We sing together for hope and for healing on page 371, Cantor.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו, may the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו, bless those in need of healing with רפואה שלמה, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Amen. We have now come to the pinnacle of our service, the Amidah, also called Hatfilah, the prayer. This is a standing prayer where we connect with the divine in whatever way makes sense for us, either by singing, by reading, or just speaking in our hearts. And we come together and do this as a community. We learn that praying in community is so much more spiritual and beautiful because we can support each other in our spiritual endeavors. We remind ourselves to pray as if everything depended on God and act as if everything depends on us. We stand and turn to page 164.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue silently through page 180. When you're done with your silent prayer, you may be seated.
On page 178, we ask for an abundant peace. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם.
It's my honor to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Lisa Sage. Lisa Sage holds a master's degree in public health. She is an experienced health educator who speaks on many topics, including diabetes and diabetes prevention, disability inclusion, and something I just learned today, music for mental health and enjoyment. As a senior health educator for the LA County Department of Health Services, she developed and implemented curriculum on diabetes, healthy hearts, smoking cessation. Did I get that word right? Cessation. Whoa, that's a tough one. Stress management, weight management, as well as prenatal education. Her determination to become bilingual so she could better serve the LA community eventually led her to being fluent in Spanish, where she was able to provide additional services to low-income, low-literacy, and mainly monolingual individuals who only spoke Spanish. As a professional, she chaired several committees, including the Patient Education Standardization Committee, another mouthful, the Patient and Family Education Committee, and the Family Planning Advisory Committee. During her free time, Lisa volunteers as a Temple board member where she advocates for the inclusion of people with disabilities. Additionally, she's a member of a citywide Jewish advisory committee called Respectability. Lisa has had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis since childhood. Her goal, though, is to always have an optimistic attitude toward life and to share that attitude with others. My honor to call forward Lisa Sage.
Thank you. Hello? Testing? Okay. So first of all, Jade, I wanted to thank you for some of the things you said tonight. It was very beautiful. Huh? Yeah, take my mask off. Thank you. I wanted to thank you, Jade, for everything you said tonight. And Rabbi John, thank you. And I'm sorry I might go over 2 minutes of my time. I worked on this quite a bit today, but I wanted to get everything I wanted to say on paper. And I'm saving paper. I'm saving the environment, printing paper, and my printer. So I have it on my iPad tonight. So good evening, everyone. I'm glad you're all here in person. And there's a lot of people I heard on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. So that's nice to know as well. And Cantor, thank you for the beautiful music. Good evening. So first of all, I wanted to say that tonight is part 2 of Lisa Sage, continuing from last year around the same date. I think it was a day before or after last year. For those of you who participated in the service last year, 2021, on Zoom, you may remember me saying that at the end of my speech next year, hopefully in person. Well, I and we got our wish. I don't know about all of you, but this past year has been a rough one for me. Although I got my first COVID vaccine in the middle of February 2021, I thought that life would start getting better. And it did in some ways, but in other ways, I feel as if we are going to live with COVID the rest of our lives, just like we live with the flu every year. I don't know about all of you, but the worst part for me, or one of the worst parts of it, is having to wear a mask everywhere I go. Although there are some benefits to wearing a mask, it has been helping my allergies, especially when I go out. I usually wear my mask outdoors as well, even though technically we don't really need to. So as you may remember, if you came to my talk last year, or even if you didn't, I will remind you or tell you for the first time, I have juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. I have had it since I was 3 years old. Because of my arthritis and also the medicine I'm using for my arthritis, it affects my immune system. It lowers it. So I am more susceptible to getting sick, and I don't want to get the flu, COVID, or anything else that is bad for you. Therefore, in medical terms, I am immunosuppressed. I take good care of myself by eating healthy, exercising, washing my hands often for at least 25 seconds, and I believe all of this has helped me over the past year, at least not to get sick. Also, fortunately, knock on wood, anybody have wood near them? I have not had a cold or flu, sinus infection, or any other illness for the past several years, and I am very thankful for that. So people think I'm crazy for washing my hands so often and for so long, but I think it has saved me and helped me to keep healthy. So enough about COVID and other illnesses. I'm here to talk to you all about disabilities because it is Jewish Disability Awareness, Acceptance, and Inclusion Month. Wow, is that a mouthful or what? So there are many types of disabilities, including physical, mental, or psychological, visible and non-visible, etc. There are disabilities that people may not even think of as disabilities, including ADD, dyslexia, other learning disabilities, anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, etc. You get the idea. So according to the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act from 1990, an individual with a disability is defined, where'd it go? Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let's see, is defined as a person who has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Now, I want to ask all of you, how many of you have a disability or know someone who has a disability? Please raise your hands. Most of the people in the room. So, 1 in 4 people have a disability. That is 25% of the population, and the numbers continue to grow. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we are doing this month for JDAAIM. On Tuesday night, we had a program on Zoom, and we had probably, I would say, 40 or 50 people attend, and I was very pleased by the attendance and surprised, and how the program went, and I got several compliments that it was a great program, and I did a great job. I worked on this with Jake Sherb, and he was excellent. I also worked on this with Sam and Maxine and my committee, and I want to thank all of them. Chris is here tonight, Cynthia, Laura M., Jake, and Jessica. Jessica's in the office. I was hoping she would come, but that's okay. Jessica's a staff member, and she has been wonderful for our committee, and at the program the other night, she was very helpful as well. Tonight, we are here for the second program of the month. Sunday morning, the 6th, Jake will be talking to some of the religious school students, 4th through 6th graders. And on Tuesday, the 8th, I will be talking to another group of 4th through 6th graders in the afternoon. This is all we have planned as for now, but we are working on one more program for later in the year. Samantha and Hallie will also be teaching another group of students on the 8th. So I wanted to talk a little bit about situations that I have encountered that have bothered me as a disabled person and how people can learn to be more sensitive and aware. Sorry, my back is hurting. Can you hear me now? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I practiced this at home standing up, so maybe that's why. So a lot has changed over the years as far as how people are educated and aware of people that have disabilities, but in some ways not much has changed. Let me give you a couple of examples. So back in the early 80s, when I was a student at UC Riverside, I went out to eat with 2 of my friends. One of them was also in a wheelchair, and the other one was not. However, she has a different type of disability. When the hostess was about to seat us, she asked my friend, the lady that was not in a wheelchair, where would she like to sit? My friend told her, why don't you ask her? She can talk. Today, when I go out with Sarah, I still get this once in a while at a restaurant, but they will ask her something that they should be asking me. Luckily, it doesn't happen too often, but it did happen to me about a week ago. The waiter, who was very young, probably in his 20s, asked her something, and she said, I think so, but ask her. It was strange to me because I had already been asking him questions about the menu. And the other thing that bothers me is that I like to be as independent as possible, and I want people to let me do things that I can do myself. If someone sees me struggling with something, I would like them to ask me, can I help you? Or do you need help with that? Rather than just grabbing something that I'm struggling with or something like that. For example, helping me get my jacket on if I can't get one of my arms in the sleeve. I do have to speak up for myself and ask for help when sometimes I don't even want to. but I do because I have to protect my body and my arthritis. When I overdo it, I am in more pain, and then I pay for it the next day or a couple of days later. Sometimes it's difficult for me to ask for help. So if someone asks me, do you need help with that, or would you like help with that, I really appreciate it. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. I think Rabbi or Jade said this earlier. And we need to focus on the things we can do, not the things we cannot do. When I was a child, I wanted to play sports, and I wanted to do gymnastics. My dad would tell me, even though you can't do those things, you do have a brain and a good one, so you can use that to your advantage. That made me feel good. My mom tells people that I am tiny but mighty. So over my life, I have had to plan everything ahead of time, including when I go somewhere new. I have to call ahead to make sure the building is accessible for me to get in. I had to do this when looking for jobs after I finished school, going to new doctor's appointments, or any new place. If I go to a new doctor's appointment, for example, I ask first if they have their own parking lot. Then I ask, how do I get into the building, and if the door is an automatic door or someone has to open it. Another example is because I need certain things, including ramps, large doorways in rooms, etc. It took me 7 years to find a place, a home that I could own, because most things that I looked at were not accessible. The home that I ended up purchasing had a few things adapted, including the front door. Instead of a step going in, I needed to have a ramp made. There were other things that also needed to be modified for me, but I won't go into those here due to time. Therefore, I had to wait 1 month after escrow closed to move into my home for all the adaptations to be done. Let me tell you some of the things I can do and I'm good at. I'm a great teacher. Several people have told me that, and I have learned recently that I am also a good moderator. I am also a good student. I'm a great listener, a great friend, loyal, dependable, responsible, friendly, funny, sometimes. And I'm great at surprising people and keeping secrets. And some people in the room can tell you that. If you ever want to tell anyone a secret, you can confide in me. I have kept several secrets over my life. I'm not sure if that's a talent or not. And some people get upset with me for not telling them stuff. There's one over there. Keeping it to myself, my mom also. But just letting you all know in case you need to confide in me about something. I'm a hard worker, sometimes too much, I think, and I love music. Maybe next year I will sing a song for all of you. I surprised my parents with a song at their 50th anniversary party several years ago, and I also surprised Sarah with the song. I'm hoping to have a solo one of these days with the temple, either with the choir or on my own. Thank you. I'm also a very organized person and great at planning. If you need help with planning a program, an event, a wedding, the retreat, Laura, anything, I'm a great planner. Lastly, I'm a very resourceful person. Since I have grown up with a disability, I've had to learn a lot, teach myself a lot, and learn a lot from others. If you need to know about resources for people who are disabled or any other resources, especially health-related, I will know who to go to or where to go. And if I don't, I will know who to ask or where to look. I think that comes as part of not only having a disability, but being a health educator for many years, as that is part of the job and working in the medical field. I was fortunate to graduate with a degree that I actually ended up working with, and I really loved my work and my career. I was always helping people, and I believe that I still help people emotionally and sometimes physically. I guess that can be a talent or a gift or both. People think that I don't work anymore because I'm retired. But I do plenty of work, mostly volunteer, at home and with organizations, including Respectability, as Rabbi mentioned. I think I told you enough good things about me and what I can do. Anything else you want to know, you'll have to ask me or get to know me. So the other night in our program that was on Zoom, we asked the question, what can the congregation do to help you feel more included? Jake answered the question first, and I'm sorry, but I can't repeat or remember exactly everything he said. But basically, he said he feels included at Kol Tikva. Then, before I answered the question, I asked the audience if anyone else wanted to share what they feel. since there were other people there with disabilities. And we had one parent there of a teenager with a disability. So the parent, I don't know if she wants her name said here, so I'm keeping her anonymous, said that she wishes there was a better way for her daughter to get to religious school. After she finished, I said I would agree with that. I said that having an elevator would greatly help me to get upstairs to classes and other things, but that I understood that the temple doesn't have the money to put in an elevator. And they not only need to put it in, but they have to provide maintenance on the elevator, probably once a month or every 3 to 6 months to make sure it's working properly. But I said that maybe there was another solution, like possibly a ramp somewhere. I wasn't sure, but we needed to brainstorm. Then Jessica said, if you really want something like an elevator, why don't you guys put in a request, because Laureen and I are great at getting grants and writing grants. Yay, Jessica. In other words, she was trying to tell us, don't be afraid to ask for what we need, and although money is a big part of not getting what we need or want, maybe we can make it happen somehow. Her comment made me feel very good. We also have some great people on our board, Temple Board. We have wonderful ideas, so I'm hoping that this next year will be a better year, including 2022 for all of us, whether we are disabled or not. And Rabbi, I've only been on the board a year and a half. Thank you. Just remember that anyone can become disabled at any time in their lives. You can get hit by a bus or a car and be paralyzed. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month. We, as people with disabilities, want to feel included, accepted, appreciated for who we are, and we want people to focus on our abilities. Remember, several people who have disabilities have many abilities and talents, and we have several of these people here in our Kol Tikva community. Thank you all, and Shabbat Shalom.
Well, after those beautiful words, and they were truly beautiful, Lisa, you kept us entertained and informed, and we are better people after having listened to you, so thank you for that. So, my blessing for everyone tonight, may you always remember that each individual counts, that each of us is a reflection of God's image, and that we need to accept whoever enters our homes and our synagogues fully, with full heart, with full soul, with full mind. And together we say. And now it's my honor to ask another board member, Karen Nyberg, to come forward to share some announcements. I'm going to give her this microphone. And you can remove your mask while you're up here.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's great to see everyone here in person. Hello, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone out in virtual land. Thank you, Rabbi John, Cantor Noah, and Jade for this beautiful service. Lisa, thank you for sharing your story tonight. I am grateful I got to hear you on Tuesday night and tonight, and you got some laughs tonight, so you are funny, just so you know. All right, some things coming up. Who in this room are Rams fans? Anybody? Whoop, whoop. Bengals fans? All right. All right, support Kol Tikva's Super Bowl squares. It's a great way to donate to our programs and get a chance to win up to $3,500 in prizes. And that is just a precursor to our annual poker tournament, which is March 13th. And just so you know, the Super Bowl squares will be available until February 11th. Save the date for our annual gala happening May 14th. If you are interested in joining the amazing gala committee, please let us know. We'd love to have you. Pardon? Oh. Cantor Noah is having her class at this time. It is called Hazanut Gems. This is the third and last of the series, coming up this Monday, but you can still jump on in and enjoy the class. This musical lecture will discuss the German influence on the cantorate, the transition to America, and finally some modern examples of cantorate gems. Last but not least, please join us for our congregation-wide Bandingo this Sunday at 5 p.m. Join Vicki. This Sunday at 5 p.m., what is Bandingo, you ask? Bandingo is the best combination of music, bingo, bands, trivia, and interactive entertainment. It's going to be hosted by its founder, MC Johnny G. We will be quizzed on our favorite music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and there will be prizes. It'll be fun for every age, so please sign up in advance to get your card and link. You can sign up for everything I just mentioned at koltikva.org under calendar and events. Please keep your eyes on emails and visit koltikva.org for all registrations and even more events. Shabbat Shalom.
We now turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. At this moment, we turn our thoughts to those who have passed recently and those who have passed during this season many years ago. We take a moment to remember and to show honor. We take a moment to be respectful. So on our recently departed list, Lee Gordon, remembered by the Strauss and Wildman families. Wolfgang Posch, remembered by the Drescher family. Mario Arce, remembered by the Hanisch and Banner families. Eva Kahn, remembered by the Kamelson and Rosenblum family. Stanley Allen Fisher, remembered by the Fisher family. Bob Saget, remembered by the Sage family. Charles Nathan Wallens, remembered by the Moline family. And on our Yortzeit list, Abraham Ackerman, Leon Avlas, Bob Cohen, Terry Cook, Nelson Dunner, Nathan Ehrlich, Martin Essex, Julio Flores, Leonard Kay, Faye Levy, Barbara June Licker, Fred Machat, Marvin Meyer, Pearl Robinson, Estelle Rosen, Louis Rosen, Joseph Rosenfield, Meyer Sherrick, Ruth Sugarman, and Arthur Saran. If you have an additional name for our Kaddish or Yortzeit list, please share it with us now. If you're in the first 7 days of morning Shiva, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first 30 days of morning Shloshim, I ask you to please rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I ask you to please rise. If you're observing a Yortzeit, please rise. These are the mourners in our midst. We rise to show them our love and our support. We are on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, b'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yimechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'gavla v'zman kari v'imru. Yehei shmei Rabba mivarak le'olam olamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei d'kudsha, b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace for all who mourn, for all Israel, and for all humankind. And together we say. You can put down your books. If you know the person next to you, put your arm around them. If you don't know, ask permission. Provide a PCR test, whatever you need to do. And here we go, a concluding song.
שלום
במרומיו,
הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם.
Karen and Adam, come forward and hold our Kiddush cup tonight and our challah. Come on forward. You don't have to put the jacket on first. You can just come forward. No one's going to steal it, I promise. Raise your hand if you're a current or former board member. This is amazing how many current and former board members we have in the room tonight. It's really impressive. Yeah. And now, if you're married to a current or former board member, raise your hand. Yeah, see, there's even more people. If you guys could hold it, no, don't uncover that challah yet. Hold up that Kiddush cup first. You can hold it together. There we go. Here we go, the Kiddush. Let's all hold up our imaginary Kiddush cups. So we used to give them out, and after COVID, hopefully we'll go back to giving them out again. Here we go.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן לחיים.
And now uncover that challah. Oh, you're beating me to the punch, Vicky. Vicky already knows my shtick. All right, let's hold up that challah nice and tall. Let's all point at it like we're preschoolers and go, yummy, yum, yum. And now our hamotzi.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון.
Take a bite. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom to those of you watching us live and those watching us on your TV sets and computers. It is Shabbat wherever you are. Have a great Shabbat. And I think we got some oneg in the other room, I think. Yeah, why don't you take that out to the room? Would you mind? Yeah.